the Rivalries podcast, season 8 of the podcast. Brought to you by betsafe.net.
betsafe.net.
Thank you for joining us. We'll sure you have no regret. We can't believe we're not canceled yet. We're gonna tell some stories. We're gonna have a good time. You know for sure we're gonna have a laugh. This is the podcast. This is the podcast. 100% free.
100%. That's it.
This is the podcast. Love it. This is the podcast.
betsafe.net.
This is the pod.
That's it.
This is the podcast. Love it. Love it. Love it. This is the pod. What? This is the podcast. This is the pod.
I just want to say you guys are much sexier than I remember.
That's true.
And I don't mean your dulcet tones, but I just mean everything about you. We are live in studio. You know, we talk about how much we promise that we don't do. A couple weeks ago on the penultimate pod, we said, hey, why don't we do the last pod in studio?
Yeah.
And in my head, I said, that's never going to happen.
No chance.
And then it wasn't going to happen. We tried to do the pod normally from our homes yesterday. And Puffy screwed it all up because he had technical issues.
I wasn't at my home. I was at my in-laws in East Willenbury. And when I came on, there was a delay.
Right. About a serious, 5 or 6 second embarrassing delay.
You
blamed you.
Hammered me.
Well, you were outside at your in-laws.
Yeah. And you were like, this is unprofessional. This is a joke.
Yeah.
And then
I destroyed you verbally.
Yes, I was definitely thinking I'm going to have to make some changes in my life.
Right.
And then it came pretty clear that
it was me.
It was you all along. You son of a
Yeah, it was me. And the sad part was we had 2 special guests.
Yes.
We had the Angel of Death, Bob Weeks, live.
Yep.
And we had Bump from a Turkish prison.
Yep.
What was that, his garage?
He got some yard time.
Why was he in his garage?
I have no idea.
Bump had the frightening, Stoff will drop something on social media if he can at least grab a still frame, because I'm not even sure we were able to save anything from this because the audio was so bad. But Bump was on, and the Angel of Death was on, and he gave a nice soliloquy about his victory in the Platinum League. And then my Wi-Fi wouldn't work, and hence the entire podcast was thrown into the garbage. But out of the wreckage of Phoenix rises.
That's true.
And here we are in studio. We should tell everybody it's actually free agency day. I'm not sure when you will hear this. God knows when Stoff will be able to put this together. Stoff?
August, we're aiming for August.
Sometime mid-August. So this is actually July 13th when we're taping this. We've just done the free agency show.
And I just want to say happy anniversary to my wife.
Oh, Nicole.
Very
Nice.
Nicole.
No other place I'd rather be today than right here with you, John.
Wow. What a romantic you
9
are.
years.
Wow. It seems to me you scheduled this pod right at 6 o'clock to get out and take her to Ruth Chris or something. You know what I mean?
Not Ruth Chris. Little night at Ruth Chris in Bradford.
That's right.
Is there a Ruth Chris in
There
Bradford?
absolutely
Is there a
is not.
steakhouse in Bradford?
No, I don't think we have a steak.
Not even a keg? You got a keg up there?
No, we do not have a. There's a Krabby Joe's. Krabby Joe's.
Wow.
That's like a crab shack?
You could get a cut of meat there, I'm sure.
Well, something.
Does Krabby Joe's have like crabs? Is that what it is called? Krabby Joe's?
No, it's just an angry owner.
That's what I think of it.
Oh, it's like a pub, right?
Yeah.
It's where the kids go.
That's
The
decent.
Bradford kids go hang out,
decent,
right?
yeah.
There's a famous Bradford bar called it sounds like almost like a government or an army name.
Like the
like the
Colonels?
short
The
firm.
Colonels?
The Village
captains?
Inn there? The VI?
Yeah, the VI.
The
That's it,
VI?
the VI. And I'm
It goes
like-
down at the VI.
Yeah, my brother-in-law used to always, when he's young, go, I'm going to the VI, and I'd be like, oh, that sounds kind of dangerous.
Right.
There's some of the Bay Area radio stations do their live to airs from
Nice.
there. Big
Wow.
party.
So
big
is that
party.
like a kid club, or is it like Greystones in Aurora with the old folks?
I think it's more of an in-between.
divorcees.
Yeah, like the...
Yeah.
Right. It's funny. Every little town, though, has got a place. Like all my kids go to a place in Newmarket called the Goat.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like the trendy spot for like the 20-year-olds.
Do they got a dance
I
floor?
keep threatening to go to the Goat.
Oh, you should.
Oh, we should go. Live pod.
Do it.
You'd be the man there.
Like my son.
Imagine.
one of my daughters wants me to go.
Yeah.
But then my son is like, Dad, you're not going to go to the GOAT. That's insane. But I think I should show at the GOAT one night.
Yeah,
If you're going to the
absolutely.
GOAT, let me know. I'll go to the GOAT.
I'm in.
do it.
I'll bring the bail money.
Well,
do it.
apparently, so my kids have a couple of friends who were friends with the parents. Shout out to Tanya and Eric. And they apparently showed up at the GOAT a few weeks ago and were just hammered and just bought shooters for all the kids at the GOAT.
Everyone loves that.
Yeah, everybody
Exactly.
loves that. But
Be
I
shooter
don't know.
guys.
Yeah. Anyway, so maybe we'll all hang out at the GOAT some night in Newmarket. There's another name like it's got the gray goat or the big goat or the ugly
Gray
goat or something like
I
that.
think Tanya used to work there.
The gray goat in Newmarket.
I think she did. If those walls could talk.
Did you guys have a place like in your area? You were kind of a townie. You're a downtown
Well, yeah,
guy.
but me and my buddies, if we're going for like beers, we'd go to the Rose and Crown at Yonge and Eglinton.
Rose and Crown Yuggening. So this is like
there.
underage, perhaps?
No, this was just like it was like a seat, like not seedy. We thought it was nice, but it wasn't like a club. It was more like
Okay.
a.
Did you have an underage drinking place, or did you?
Yeah, it was a billiards place at Vic Park and Lawrence.
Right. To all the children out there under 19 years of age,
Yeah.
we don't like
Vic Park and Lawrence is this podcast.
Vic Park and Lawrence.
we don't like
the
to.
snooker hall, they will not.
But the
check
kids
ID.
sometimes will underage. For in Blackburn Hamlet, shout out to Blackburn Hamlet in Ottawa. Young Chow's Chinese food was not big at asking for the ID. So
I've seen pictures of you. You would not.
Oh my
have
God!
ID.
I looked 14 at 18. So we'd go order a little chicken balls, a little chicken fried rice, and like 7 beer.
Nice.
Oh, nice. As long as you're paying cash.
There used to be a place in Markham we used to go to called Union Station. That was the big place. That was
Nice.
around the late high school, early university.
You know what? I think I used to when I was in Ottawa. We'd come for football tournaments, and I think I've been to Union Station
Yeah.
in Markham when I was at those.
Like Kennedy and Steeles or something like that, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when we got Bar 216 was the next. Now we had Hull next door,
Oh,
which
come on.
Hull.
Yeah, that's
Get
like a cheat code.
Oh, you could 14. You could get in at Hull. One of my worst moments. I might have said this on the pod before, but my sister. Not the same thing. That's a weird Freudian thing.
Yikes.
Look, we were a close family. My sister's
We're learning a lot today.
My sister's boyfriend came and lived with us. I think I told you this story.
Yeah.
And I stole his ID out of his room and went to Hull, and I lost his ID at Hull. And the bar called, like he had his phone number somehow on his ID, and called my house, and my dad answered like, "Yeah, we found Mike Vermette's ID here in Hull," and my dad's like, "Sure, just a second. Mike, you dropped your ID in Hull." And he's like, "I've never been to Hull." Jimmy's at the table, like slowly slinking under the table, going, "Oh."
The best would have been if your dad and him got in a shouting match over it. And they broke up because of it.
Irresponsible things you've done.
I actually had to comp to that one, and that wasn't pretty. I think I was probably 17, and but Bar 216, which was at Ottawa U, they were also not good about asking for the identification. So we all have those favorite spots. Anyway, welcome to the last edition of the Rubber Boots Podcast, brought to you by our friends at betsafe.net.
betsafe.net.
Our friends at TaylorMade. Thank you for all your support throughout the year. Take 2 of the final edition of the Rubber Boots Pod. What a season!
So
it's
sorry,
been.
is this final forever or just a season?
Well, you never know.
Contract negotiations might be tough.
Stoff's gonna go home. I'm out, baby.
Finally.
I didn't say final episode. What season was this? 9?
8. 9 is next, buddy.
Been 8 all year.
Season 8. Okay. No, it wasn't. It was 7 in like the before Christmas, right?
That's true. That is true.
I can't keep track.
I
I
understand.
can't believe we're in 8. We've done 8 full seasons.
8 seasons.
I saw today I saw Roy Halladay died in 2017. And I couldn't believe it was 2017, but then I was like, oh, I remember us doing the podcast.
Yeah.
On Roy
When he-
Halladay.
yeah, like when he died, and I remember seeing it in here.
Yes, that's
So I'm
right.
like, we've
Yeah.
been doing podcasts for a long time now.
Well, we were doing the Free Agent Frenzy today, and we were paying tribute to the evil Quizmaster, who, by the way, keeps telling us his dream is to be on this pod, and actually sent me an email that he had conversed with Lester about being on the pod. And Lester was like, "Yeah, I don't know why we haven't had you on the pod yet, Lester." And I'm like, "He's never coming on the pod. It's a running gag
I know it's a
that he'll
running
never
gag.
be on the pod." But the evil Quizmaster's semi-retiring, kind of like Bob McKenzie. And so we did a little tribute to him at the end of the Free Agent Frenzy. And I was like, "How long have you been with us for? Like 12, 13 years?" He's like, 20 years. I'm like, 20 years?
Wow.
This is exactly. You go 2005. He goes 2001. James.
It was awesome.
Can you imagine if we make 20 years on this podcast? That'll never happen, will it?
Who knows?
Who knows? You never know.
What would we be
All I
talking about
know
then?
is it'll be the coolest.
It'll be the greatest pod out there.
How many times do you think we'll do the same stories? By then?
Who's got bunions?
Puffy, I got a new bunion on my big toe. What do you think about that? Hey, Lester, when are we getting Eric Stone Street on? That never gets old.
I'll be still trying to get to the gray goat now.
Oh my God.
I think we can do it, boys.
Oh my God.
That'll be shameful, but we should try to do it. Maybe there's a market for senior pods out there.
I'm sure there is.
One of the things, I'm not going to try and pretend to make this fresh because I did it the other day, so you guys heard it. But I just want to relay it to the audience because we get our audience feedback all the time. I told you guys I've started shaving without the shaver handle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? And I didn't because the delay was so bad. I never actually got any reactions from you guys because everything reacted like I was waiting for the big the laugh track and then never got any of it. It wasn't even supposed to be a funny story, but I didn't.
There was no laugh.
There was no laugh.
It wasn't supposed to be funny, but I was wanting to get some real feedback from you guys, and I don't remember anything you said. So basically, for the folks listening, I lost I shaved with the blade, and I lost the actual the thing you hold on to. What do you call that? The handle?
The handle.
Yeah.
The handle. I thought there might be a fancy shaver name for it. And so all I got is the blade. So I've started shaving, and I liked it so much that I've decided to just keep shaving only with the blade. So I hold the blade between my thumb and my finger, and I shave myself only with the blade. And it's very efficient. You get in touch with your face.
Clean.
Well, I had the bad goatee that you always mock me for.
Yeah.
I had it going because I had about 9 days between TV appearances. So I had to shave it. It was a big test because there was a bit of hair there. Not often. And by the way, Jared, my son, 22, pretty full beard he's growing.
Really?
Nice.
And neither Big Jim, my dad, R.I.P., or myself can really grow a beard.
And Jared looks like you guys, so it's definitely in the the genes.
Maybe
Thanks for confirming that.
Well, I mean, sometimes you never know.
But Jared's beard, ginger.
Oh,
really?
There is no ginger anywhere in our family. So what's happening?
Now what do we think, Puffy?
Puffy?
Brooksy said she talked to you.
Very strange.
Not even on Brooksy's side?
I don't know.
Isn't Brooksy's dad like a lumberjack or something? He's like a man's man.
A lumberjack.
He's like a man's man.
He definitely is a man's man. He builds things.
That's where he gets his beard from.
Maybe so. His
Not
muscle.
really though. He's
Robin Hood.
what?
With a lumberjack.
Yeah. So anyway, I shave my face with just the blade. I recommend people to try it. You can save money. Although usually when you buy blades, you get actually a handle with it. So
No, you can buy the blades. You can buy the blades. You can buy
saving
40 blades at Costco.
true.
No handle.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah. You can also use a knife.
Guiding stick, it's called, I think.
I think a knife you can get even closer.
a guiding stick.
Yeah, that's what they call it. I think
No, they don't.
I'm
No,
pretty
they
sure
do.
it's not a handle.
A guiding stick.
I think that's what it's actually called. But it's
A
not
shaving
a
guiding stick.
Wow.
But anyway, I'm going to revolutionize shaving with the No Blade Shave, No Blade Shaver Company.
Like it.
Potential sponsor.
Welcome to season 12 of the Rubber Boot Podcast, brought to you by the No Blade Shaver Company.
So is your prototype just going to be a Gillette where you remove the...
Gillette.
That's the one thing I haven't really figured out besides having just the blade.
You're just going to mail people other shavers?
Yeah, that's a good point by you.
Feds will be onto you pretty quick.
Yes, they will. What do you got for us today on the big Christoph missive?
The missive.
I gotta say,
Season-ending missive.
We just did 7 hours of TV. Puffy and I, Puffy didn't do 7 hours of TV, but he worked behind the scenes meticulously.
Yeah, it was grinding.
So I'm not going to make a lot of sense tonight. So why don't you just carry the show, Stoff, as you always do.
before
Well, sorry, we discussed Bob Weeks briefly. How he won. We need to know what's going to happen with the golf club.
He
with
did
the,
say he was
Stealth
going
Driver.
to keep them both.
Didn't we agree that the runner-up should get the driver?
We did.
Well,
we did.
most of us believe that would be fair and just, but that's also not.
now,
in line
There
with
was
this
some
podcast.
question of some talk of the driver coming to me because I believed in.
We're trying to get Bob Weeks on. If not,
Maybe he'll call you.
you're right. Maybe he'll just randomly call me out of the blue.
All right, so J-Dem, you sit tight, and we'll figure it out if you're getting that golf club or not.
Stay tuned for next week.
For the record, I support J-Dam getting the.
I think so.
that's-
Now,
I
do
think
we
that's
have
only
any
fair.
indication? Has J-Dam given us indication that he's a golfer? Because the one thing I think Nick and TaylorMade would want, he doesn't want somebody to just put the driver on
100%.
on the eBay, or if the eBay still exists. I don't know. I mentioned, is eBay still out there?
No, it's like Facebook Marketplace.
Facebook Marketplace.
Okay, but what if he's not a golfer, but he's going to use the golf club for something else? You just got to keep it
Murder.
Yeah, like if someone breaks into his house, he just keeps it under his bed.
Just to beat rodents? I don't know. I guess that's valid. I guess we can't make questions like
Or
that.
he might just hang it on his wall as his prize.
Yeah, that would be okay. Mount it?
We're all signing it, right?
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You want to mount it?
We're all signing it?
Mountain.
The club. We're not on it.
Sure, if he wants. It's more
There
like
there
Nick
might be an
sends it to his
exchange.
house. I don't really like to add extra layers of things during the summer.
Send it to my house. I'll make sure.
Yeah, here we go.
That will.
shit.
1996 TaylorMade.
No, seriously, congratulations to Bob Weeks. That's a hell of a run he had there.
He sure did.
You
He
know.
sure did.
During our failed attempt, we also had Bump On.
Okay.
We should mention. He was, as you said,
I did mention. Were you not listening to the early?
Well, he never did his live. He was supposed to do his anti-live. rant.
Oh, that's sad because
never
he's got a
happened.
good one. He's definitely on my side. He's actually stronger than myself.
I don't know.
and Tiger
After
Woods.
last week's event, I don't know, buddy.
Oh, he was just such. It was so great.
Yes.
It's been awesome.
PGA, especially for these South Africans.
Tiger
They're
Woods. Look
dominating.
at the final word in any golf topic goes to the greatest golfer ever, Tiger Woods. He completely denounced the LIV
Yes,
Tour
he did.
and shot down
yes.
everything that you two said.
I was
then-
disappointed.
And then next year, he'll be right there with Rory.
I sent that to you yesterday, and one of the things he said was like, 72 holes. It's got to be 72 holes. You got to
Joke.
play.
But why,
You know?
though?
You know?
Why does it have to be?
Because it's a grind. Because it's
a grind.
tradition.
That's what it is. That's what it is, golf. You know
It's
what
like
I mean?
hockey, 2 periods.
You know, and,
right?
and the other thing he said
Yeah,
about
but by the end,
PFC
half
men-
the field's not playing for anything.
Well,
Boring.
It's the most disappointed I've ever been in Tiger.
Really?
Anything he's
Anything
ever
they've
done.
It's the most unethical statement he's ever made. It's
Anything
Just
else is better than
Oh,
this.
look at Bob Weeks says he's here.
I liked what he
he's
In
here
the
in the building.
in the building.
No, not in here.
that
I mean
would be
here
amazing.
as in available on the
It would
line.
almost as
That'd
if
be
we
something.
planned it.
That would have been
Wouldn't
amazing.
that have been something?
No, that would never really happen that way. Let's see what happens here.
number you have reached is not in service.
I'm gonna see. Well, does my phone
Tell
not?
him to call you.
Does my phone not work anymore? Puffy, you screwed this whole thing up again.
Your delay's killing us.
Could you call me? You can take this part out, Stoff.
This is a season finale. It all stays
phone.
It
in.
all stays in.
And it's not working when I call you. So hopefully Bob Weeks will call us momentarily. We'll see when he calls. Could be 30 seconds from now. Could be 15 seconds from now. Wow, big special guest on the end of the season show. So one other thing I wanted to mention about golf, and that is that all of our things are looping together. There's a golf course in Prince Edward County. Well, it's just Blackberry Ridge.
I've heard about this, yes.
They have asked me
Yep.
to come play
Okay.
Blackberry Ridge.
Okay.
Accommodations
We
and
have
golf.
We can have. Oh,
Wow.
Okay.
And so I thought maybe
Wow.
do it.
this is the excuse to make everybody comes to Prince Edward County.
Wow.
We play golf at Blackberry Ridge. We get some free accommodations for the night, and then we go to Puffy's house and we get that for a week.
No, well, not a week,
Trash it.
but we can go for a couple days.
Ladies and gentlemen, the angel of death, Bob Weeks. Bobby, we're doing this we're in studio today, just after the free agent frenzy. But all I'm doing is putting you on speaker and holding you up to my mic. That's the high-tech way we do this podcast. I apologize for everything that happened. You made a great appearance the other day, and Puffy kind of screwed it all up with his bad Wi-Fi. But you were so eloquent in the way you talked about your victory that we didn't want to let the season go without you being able to repeat that. So just a comment on your performance this year in the Platinum League.
Well, it was a Cinderella story, as Bill Murray would say. Came from the D flight all the way up and took on all those guys, all the famous people, Chewy, Joey, Louie, whatever his name is, and Bites Fred. All those guys. And I was very happy that I could get past JDem 13, who was a worthy opponent in the final.
Stoff is drinking like a vitamin water and literally did the sitcom spit out.
That's great. That's fantastic.
Bites Fred.
Can Bites Fred be the title?
Yeah, I think it can.
Absolutely.
Hey, Weeksy, here's the question I have for you, and I think I've verbalized this on the podcast before. Do you gamble? Because if you don't, you probably should be gambling.
Good at it.
I never really have much before. I've never been a card player or anything like that, but I will say, having spent time with Graham Dillette now on the road, it's become a little bit more of a passion. He's showing me the ropes.
Graham is definitely into that thing right now. Now that he's not officially a member of the PGA Tour anymore, and it wasn't like he was betting on golf, but you know what I mean. He does enjoy a bet, perhaps more than
college football,
perhaps more than Puffy.
He is pretty into it.
I mean, I think the two of them sitting in a room like we have at the Masters every once in a while, listen to them talk. It's almost like a foreign language the way they're going. But yes, it's become fun, and of course this is the highlight of my gambling career here. To win the Stealth Driver, now I'm going to have two in the bag, which I can't. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing.
So we actually should give you the last word. We were just discussing this. Should we give it to J Dem, who you beat in the final?
I think so. I think as long as he plays golf, let's not give it to somebody who doesn't play golf because it'll be up on eBay. But I think if J Dem plays golf, then he is a worthy recipient.
Bob, it's Facebook Marketplace, you loser. Don't you know anything?
Sorry.
Get hit with the times, kid.
I'm so 2000.
What a joke. I called it eBay like 2 minutes before you came on. Puffy chastised me. We don't want to keep you long, Weeksy. We appreciate your time, and thank you so much for not only being a champion, but an avid listener of the podcast.
It's a great pod. I as you know, I listen to it when I run, and it helps me go through those miles and kilometers. And I had a lot of fun listening to you guys. You entertain so many people, and I'm just glad to be a small part of it. So thanks very much.
All right, Weeksy, take care.
Cheers,
take care, buddy.
Cheers,
Let's get out and play golf. All right.
See you guys. Take care.
That's the legend that is Bob Weeks.
Bobby,
do we have to now call Bump?
He's sitting there feeling left out. He is.
He's available.
I think
we should call Bump.
Give him a call.
I'll send him a text. Stoff, you start things that I saw on Twitter, and then I'll.
Do you want to for Bump? Should we call him like the actual phone way, or is this just more fun?
No, okay.
He can't hear us.
Do it the same. Oh, what do you mean?
So I can probably call him through the phone here.
No, I like this way.
Okay, perfect.
I don't know why. I like old school technology. Go ahead. Things I saw on Twitter.
Freaky pics, strange chicks, world affairs, polar bears, fake news, nice shoes, big boobs, jack dudes. All of these things and more as I sat on the shitter. Things that I saw on Twitter.
Yesterday, trending on Twitter, the fact that Zach Wilson, his ex-girlfriend, is now dating his former college roommate, and that's Washington Commanders wide receiver Dax Milne. Now, this came out as they shared photos of each other, and then people started calling her a homie hopper since she dated one guy and then the next.
Which is not very cool.
Yeah, not cool. Definitely not cool at all. But what she replied with was that Zach basically slept with one of his mom's friends, and who's the real homie hopper now? Which I guess she was trying to shame him, although I would say a lot of Twitter wasn't shaming him. Maybe a little more of a celebration, perhaps?
I did get a picture of Time Person of the Year, and it was Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I saw that one too.
Those shamings can backfire sometimes that way. So he broke up with his girlfriend?
No,
first?
she broke up with
She broke up with him because he slept with his mom's best friend.
Yeah.
And now she has gone for revenge and is now dating his old roommate.
Yeah.
Now, in the 24 hours or so, did we get confirmation? Because they showed some mystery pics on the beach, but she wouldn't show her face, but we believe
Well, so from that, someone determined that it was her, and that's how this whole thing happened. That's when they started calling her that.
That gets ugly. So did the friendship break up before?
Oh, yeah. It seems that way, basically.
Who's the guy again? He's a
wide receiver for the Commanders.
Oh, okay.
That legendary franchise. Yes.
Okay.
I actually have to admit, I thought it was a non-National Football League team that I'd forgotten.
From the USFL?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, well, that's a big step down.
That's right.
Now I'm like, oh, he's a pro player? Oh, that's pretty good still.
You know what? I thought the exact same thing. Because it does sound like
Commanders
something from the AFL or the US.
It sounds like a video game.
Super generic,
when they didn't have the rights to the NFL.
Yeah, like the expansion teams in Madden that you can pick, Yeah.
It's amazing how those things happen. Like, I'm glad it all happened, but like for 20 years, you'd have these movements to change the names of teams.
Yeah.
And they would just get discarded, right? And then all of a sudden, it happened, and it was a tidal wave, and they're basically all gone. Are there any missing?
Yeah, there's still some. Atlanta Braves.
The Atlanta Braves.
yeah. Chiefs, yeah.
Kansas City Chiefs.
Right.
The Sentinels.
But you would think the pressure on them now would
Florida State
be
Seminoles.
would be massive to change, right? With Cleveland changing and Washington
Well,
changing.
some of them go with the thing that it's celebrating the culture. So, I mean, the term Redskins is probably more offensive than Chiefs.
Right.
I would assume, right?
I would think so, yeah.
You know, so I think that's part of it, but...
Well, that was a long debate
just-
with Edmonton. Eskimos,
Yes.
the term, some thought it was complimentary, some that was not. In the end, they decided not, and they went with Elks, and I think that was the good move in the end. But it's fascinating, how it sort of happened so quickly once it started happening. Okay, keep going.
All right, next we have a vintage hockey clip here, and I just wanted to talk about how far the game has come when it comes to dealing with concussions and brain-related injuries, and we will roll that right here.
Well, there is the stretcher, Robitaille, now being wheeled, I would suspect, to an ambulance and to a hospital, unless there's one right here in the Coliseum that you know of, Greg.
It's a club, it's a mini hospital type thing.
Now that is spectacular.
That is something else. Basically, he's toppled over on a stretcher, and we'll tweet this out, obviously. You can view it on YouTube as well. But they're wheeling him out, and they're probably taking him to the hospital, to which one of the announcers says, it's a mini hospital type thing.
Not a real hospital. You can't even describe. He's half on the stretcher, half off, kind of in a fetal half position.
It looks like
legs
an
up, too?
SCTV skit.
Yeah.
It's worse than when they drop Medano off the stretcher, is it not?
Way
100% it is, yeah. At least, I mean, Medano was all strapped in, and he had his neck. I believe his neck was mobilized and everything.
Which made it almost worse.
Then they just dropped it on the side. Oh, Jesus!
Oh, I know. I mean, it's funny. It's not funny. It's funny because it's old timey.
Oh my
but
God.
it's lunacy. Continue.
Yeah, well, actually, I was going to say, so when we were doing the Beauties podcast, I was looking for an old clip from like a 1985 final.
Right.
And while I was watching the games, there was one moment where a photographer sitting at the side of the rink got hit with a puck, and I'm talking like bloodied completely.
Right.
And they just smacked the towel on him and made him run across the ice. Whereas now, I think like they would stop the game, probably like bring all kinds of people in, but they literally told them like, no, you're going on the ice, hold this to your head, and they literally pushed them across the ice. It was one of the funniest things.
Wow, the amount of like in minor sports, the amount of concussions where we went back on the field probably is lunacy.
Oh, insane.
We just called it, you got your bell rung.
Yeah, you got your bell rung. That's literally what it is.
Forever.
That's it.
And you're
I've
like,
done it.
you just ran out there.
I got leveled one time and sat on the bench for I don't think I missed a shift.
Sometimes Super 70 Sports, which is a great Twitter account, he'll sometimes put on these old plays like NFL plays from the 70s and 80s where a guy just literally gets destroyed and there's not even a penalty.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh yeah, let's just move on with the game.
The next video I sent in was of a F1 race, and this one here, as you can see, there's a bunch of red and orange smoke surrounding the fan areas, basically. So much so that when they pan from the fan area, you can't actually see the race. All you see is the smoke, and it's blocking the entire view. Now, you see this at soccer games a lot, especially in like the fan section. Even
so, it's people
GFC
letting
games.
off smoke
Yeah,
bombs.
like
Yeah, they're like
flares,
colored
stuff.
smoke bombs, flares,
In
whatever.
this case, I think it was orange, right?
Yeah, it was orange. You're right. And so it's just I've always wondered what it's like to sit in one of those crazy sections and like, can you actually see the game? And from this video, it looks like you can't see a thing.
No.
So
What's the point?
What's the point? Like, I understand that it's like part of being there and you're celebrating, but if you can't witness the event,
Well, if you go to like TFC games and they'll have at the end, they'll have the supporter sections, like these diehard fans, and they are diehard, and they are there, and they love the team, and they're supporting it. Half of them aren't even watching the game.
No, they're not.
Their backs are turned to it. They have flares going off. They can't, they're just there to create atmosphere.
yeah, they're
Which
trying to
do a
get
great
the
job.
Viking clap
Yes.
going,
Yeah,
everything.
but they
yeah.
don't watch. I'm like, how can you love
But-
something so much and not watch?
But that's a
event?
weird
get
thing
it.
in soccer because you're right. Soccer fans are so devoted. I thought they pay attention to every second. I had a wake up call when I went to my first NFL game, which was the NFC Championship game in 1998, the Niners and the Packers in San Francisco.
Nice.
And, I was so fired up about the game. It was Steve Young against Brett Favre, and I love my Niners, and I was nervous as hell and everything. And I got in there, and I realized that like half the people in the stadium are so drunk they're not paying attention to what's going on in the game. Like half the people in the stadium.
Yeah.
And that was such a bizarre thing to me, because I guess I grew up going to Ottawa Rough Rider games where it was kind of an old fan base and everybody was watching the game.
Yeah.
The south side was where all the rowdies were. The north side was like everybody like my dad, retired guys who sat there with their papers and took stats and everything, and right? And I was just befuddled by the fact that everyone was so hammered they didn't know what was going on. I'm like, what's the point?
We come from Canada, and for me, I just like to take the Toronto Maple Leafs for example. I mean, the Leafs tickets are so hard to get. You want to get there, and you want to pay attention, and so it's you're right focused. I mean, I've been at Leaf games as a kid when you see people that are drunk and a little bit disorderly, but still, they're not. Their back's not to the game. They're watching the game. They're into it, right?
I think the one thing that people are always critical of the Leafs fans is like the lower bowl, especially. It's people who aren't there probably for the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember me and my dad went once, and in order to sit down there, we actually had to get like piggyback seats, so one of us was in front of the other. And there was this couple next to me who I think someone gave them the tickets. They really didn't seem to pay attention to anything that was going on, and they were gone by like halfway through the second.
It's a lot of clients, either guys bringing
it's
clients.
a hot ticket, that's what it is.
Or
right?
guys giving tickets to clients as something to do. And I think it's gotten better though as far as the bowl not being empty. Remember in the early years there at Canada Center because everybody was drinking down below.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's better now when we do the games.
A little bit better, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe as the team's gotten a little bit better.
I think they probably made a
Second
concerted effort to make sure that it looked better on TV as well. So maybe they changed the timing a little bit to make sure people got back to their seats. Who knows? Yeah.
Bump has said he's available, so we have to manage this carefully. At what point do we call
the ending?
Bump?
The ending.
Wait a little bit down the road.
Yeah, 100% the ending.
Right.
Perhaps in August.
Well, I love the bumpster.
You should just say, "Oh, great to know you're available. We're not sure if we can fit you in. Stand by."
We'll bring him on to help us close out the show in the season.
Yeah. Perfect, because we need to get the anti-live rant. I need to hear that from Bump.
Yes.
You got anything else on the tweet?
Well, I'll have my PGA rebuttal, but we do have one thing on the Twitter. It was last week we aired the Red Wings versus Avalanche E60 documentary on their rivalry.
Right.
So
very good.
Did it? So it already,
phenomenal.
It already was on?
Yeah, it was on last week.
There might be a couple of repeats scheduled.
Yeah,
but it's very good.
It's really
very
good. They got all the
everybody
huge
says it's great.
names,
Have you watched it?
Yeah, I would say I saw like 3/4 of it. I haven't seen the whole thing yet.
So
but
is it possible to get on like Crave or something? Or
I'm not
TSN
sure.
on demand. No,
TSN on demand. It might be on demand. But listen, I'll hook you up. Don't worry.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Lester's going to send all our listeners the link.
I'll send you a Bell Media review link.
Oh,
yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Because it does look awesome.
I'll send it to you.
Really well executed from what I saw, and I just remember that like being in high school during that time. That was like such an incredible series to watch.
James, you were covering the games.
I was in year 12 at TSN at the time.
No, but so I was going to ask you guys, is that the greatest rivalry you've ever seen? Greatest in sports, in hockey, or what is then?
I think that the greatest rivalries are probably country, like when it's like two countries that hate each other. I think there's
like
more
a soccer
intensity.
thing, or
Serbia,
even
Croatia. Like those are like where it's like real.
Like histories of wars and.
But when you're talking about like professional club teams, that's pretty hard to beat for how much they really did hate each other and how much
It's kind of faded, right?
It seems to be it was a short-term one, but it was so fiery,
very
so
fiery.
powerful.
Listen, of course.
The other question is, will we ever have rivalries like that? I don't think the modern athlete cares about this stuff. Well, we get something. You get bench brawls in different sports and such, but I just don't know that there's. I'm not saying they're not as fiery as I'm not going to be old-timey guys sitting there going, it's never like the way it was before, but I don't know, man. I don't see it. I don't see a hardcore rivalry like that happening in any of the sports, really.
These guys, listen, whether it's football or soccer or hockey, these guys all know each other. They train with each other. Oh, they're up at each other's cottages, whatever. I remember one time, and I can't remember who the hockey player was. Maybe it was Phil Esposito. But back in the day, if you were playing for the Boston Bruins and you walked into a bar and you saw a Chicago Blackhawks player, you left that bar.
Yeah, you didn't talk to them.
You don't talk to them.
Yep.
Yeah, you went somewhere else.
Yeah,
that's the type of thing.
To Lester's point, like you'll still have blow-ups on the field and stuff like that, but because these guys know each other and stuff, there's no lasting effect. Like they don't really develop into these huge, maybe in certain smaller cases, but they don't develop into these huge rivalries anymore. I think.
And for you guys who watch, do these guys still hate each other?
I can't speak to that. I can tell you this though, and this is going back.
Do they say that they talk about that on the in the movie though?
They certainly talk about it in the movie. Yeah. But what I think one of the things I'll reference is that many years ago, off the record, Michael Landsberg had Lemieux and McCarty on
Oh, wow.
And they shook hands.
Oh,
at the end of
really?
yeah. So it's like,
okay.
it was, and both of them said, listen, it was just business, and that's what it was for them, I would like to say, in the spirit of talking about rivalries, I mean, I wonder about Ali and Frazier back in the day. I mean, look, because Ali crossed some serious personal lines with Joe Frazier, and they did hate each other.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
I think Frazier's talked about it, but I think they might have mended the fences before.
well, they're both gone now, but you're probably right.
Who died first? Joe?
Frazier.
Frazier,
I think Joe died first.
Yeah, I remember seeing something. I think they sort of mended a little bit maybe beforehand, but I might have that dead wrong. Yeah, you don't want to go down with stuff like that.
No,
I
you
think.
don't. No, you don't.
Yeah.
Not at all.
I think
Not
it
at
would
all.
be like, from our standpoint, us versus the other network. Because when I see David Amber, I just want to kick him in the face.
The kids call that on site, Jimmy.
Yeah.
On site. See him.
I'm going to see him tomorrow, play golf with him. I'm going to kick him in the face.
Kick his ass.
What else we got?
Let's move on to what you watching.
Baby, come on now.
I got lots.
What you watching? Just between you and me. What you streaming on your TV? Let me see. What you watching? Action, drama, comedy. What you streaming on your TV?
This is a very contentious issue, as always, on what you're watching. Jimmy, you told me, you promised that this was the final season of Stranger Things.
Yeah.
And I sat through all of that season, including its 2.5-hour finale, which I thought would end the show, and it didn't.
Okay.
There's going to be a season 5, James.
Okay.
Should I even start this
Just
show?
No. You know what? The first season's amazing. The next two are
It
all
was
right,
still
but this
good.
one here for me just falls right up.
I thought it was good. The last episode was about 45 minutes too long. So Stoff,
they
I
were
was
all too
fooled by my my daughters. I thought my daughter had told me this was the final season. She did tell me that, I think. And then I was like 15 minutes left in that final episode, saying the exact same thing you were saying. This kind of is way too long, and just get it over with. Like there's one. I guess I can't do a spoiler, but there was a couple people getting like choked, and they were getting choked for about 3 hours. It felt like. Anyway, and that's when I don't know. We had to pause it for some reason, and I was just sitting there on Twitter, and I saw some story that said, one of the characters saying, "No one knows what's up for season 5 of Stranger Things." And I'm like, what? I was like you. Like, I really enjoyed the show, but I wanted it to be done.
Well, especially how long, there was at least 4 episodes that were like mini movies. They were over an hour 20 long.
I hope they don't. That was a show that should have been three seasons kind of thing.
Yeah, probably.
But
Even this season could have been better if they just made the episodes shorter and made more of them, I think. It just dragged, and I just found there was a lot of scenes that were predictable. You knew what was going to happen.
Of course.
It was just like...
But the actual story, the kind of reveal was kind of good.
No, I have no problem with the story.
Like
Just the execution for me was...
Yeah, like the way they kind of explained the whole thing, which was unexplainable, was cool. And the one episode which featured like heavily the Kate Bush song "Running Up That Hill."
Yes, which
I thought that was
for her.
and I thought that was quite well done how they did that.
Yeah.
But then they kind of milked it.
Did it involve
You're right.
someone running up a hill?
No,
Not quite.
But it was just it's
Do you know what that song is about, actually?
I don't know.
Because I always thought the way it sounds, like I never really listened to the lyrics. I always thought about losing someone and wanting to switch places with them.
Right.
Because the song's called "A Deal with God," but apparently it's just about how men and women can't understand one another, and she's singing about her significant other, how she wishes she could make a deal with God so they could switch places and see things from each other's perspective.
Oh, that was it.
So the running up the hill is basically like saying walking a mile in someone's shoes.
That's the one.
So I never got the lyrics right for that song. So that was one of the songs that I sang wrong my entire life. And now that I know the lyrics, I'll probably not be able to say it. But I if I only could make a deal with God and get him to swallow something.
No, it's switch our places.
I switch our places. So I say,
Get God to
I could
swallow.
deal with God and get him to swallow something. I didn't think it was sexual, but I was weird. And then it was swap our places. And And do you think that this is kind of a Stranger Things-y question, but do you think they chose that song because the character who is using that song, again, not spoiler alert, is thinking about her brother who passed away, and that's what she means about
Well,
swapping
that's what
places?
I thought. That's what the song was about. But when I looked up the meaning in the song, it doesn't.
But do you think that's what it meant to her? That's what they used the song?
She also misunderstood the song within the show? Yeah, probably. Most people in the 80s, I imagine, would have. But yeah, the series has been big for bringing that stuff back. The Metallica song in the last episode as well. I think Metallica ended up like on the charts again.
Right,
They were really happy about it.
I think you guys should watch it. I mean, it's fantasy and stuff, but there's some really good writing in it.
I watched first episode.
The thing that I find interesting about this season is that they've identified characters, like they clearly minimized characters who maybe the fan base didn't find interesting. The people that are off in the sort of California thing, besides Elle, like the two guys, they're kind of that's a pretty minor role. And they bring in this surfer guy to add comedy to it. Like the focus is on the people who are in the town, right?
Yeah, to a degree.
Steve, Nancy, Dustin, those are the characters they love and the other,
But the other guy's Elle's boyfriend, so he's
I know, but it's kind of, they're kind of minimized.
I just found it also predictable though. Like all of it was, even like that surfer guy that joins them, the pothead there, they're making fun of him the whole time. So at some point he's going to come through for them with something big. And I don't know.
But did you know,
it was all spelled out
my daughter kept telling me she'd figured out the main plot twist that was unveiled in like the second last episode about the demon?
But one?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I did not figure that out.
No, I just watched it and figured it out as it happened. That was pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, but I guess some people saw that coming. I did not.
You can watch it. I just didn't find this past season was as good as the other ones.
I think sorry, go on.
I've never seen it, so...
No, I think it's worth watching. I think there's a lot of crappy TV out there. There's a lot of good TV now too, but I think Stranger Things is kind of fun. But Stoff's right. Too long and they should have ended it. What was the movie that on our group chat?
Calibre or Caliber. I'm not sure if it's Calibre or Caliber.
Did we talk about this on the last epi, or did I just talk about it in our group chat?
Just in the chat, I think.
Okay, so I was spending a lot of time on the TikTok. Puffy has influenced me, and it's becoming problematic.
It's very good, isn't it?
And I came across some TikTok where this guy said, "Hey, most underrated film you'll ever see on Netflix is called Calibre," and I thought it was a Spanish movie.
Yeah.
And then I watched the whole movie, and it's Scottish, so the movie is clearly called Caliber.
Yeah. Yes.
But this person thought it was Calibre because they never actually say the word caliber in the movie. Okay.
Right. That's awesome.
But it's clearly Caliber because it's about, to an extent, a gun. There's a gun that plays a role in the movie. Those movies that just make you so anxious.
Yeah.
That you almost hate watching them. You want it to be over, but it's so good, but you have so much anxiety.
Yeah.
This movie gave me that in spades. Did anybody watch it yet?
I read it on Wikipedia.
Did you actually really
I swear
read
to
it?
God, I read it on Wikipedia, and I will say,
You did?
Yeah, I can tell what you're talking about.
That sounds awesome. I can't wait to watch it.
Could you please watch it for me and don't read Wikipedia?
Sure, I'll watch it.
So you can give me, like, in next season or in season 12, you can give me an update?
Exactly. It's just, it makes
We
you
save
think of-
time.
Yeah.
It was very well done for a small movie. It's a small movie.
So I don't want to give anything away, but
Please don't,
it's
yes.
very similar to the Kevin Hart show we watched in a sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where the initial decision made is one of panic.
Yeah.
Correct.
I'll say in this movie, compared to that one, it's a lot more believable. From what I read, at least.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so. Because
Interesting.
I was finding
was the
myself,
tough part, yeah.
I was finding myself asking,
What
like
you
I
would
was
do.
having the conversation with Brooksy, what would you do? And I would have handled it differently and more ethically, but there are circumstances which you can't explain here that really complicate it and make it really challenging. And, they do a really good job in a small amount of time of making you like the main character and really feel like there's kind of one guy's a good guy and a bit of an buddy who's sort of trying to do the right thing, but not really. And, oh man, it's just watching lives get ruined and you're like, oh my God, there's no way out of this. And it's an excellent movie. Any movie that can make you feel that way is excellent.
What a read.
Yeah.
A breezy read.
Calibre. Calibre. Anything you're watching, Lester?
You know what? I got to bring up. I'm into season 4 of Westworld. I've started watching that. Not bad. A little slow.
A lot of people are ripping like the new season of Westworld.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's terrible.
So
or
that's the
something.
new season because I watched season 3 and I remember for me season 3 kind of went like it started on an incredible high and it kind of fizzled out near the end for me.
Really interesting.
So did you find it picks back up, or is it sort of in the same?
No, it's in the same. Like they're setting the table for something. You know what I mean? Which is fine.
Well, just with Westworld for me, it's because it's about this like fake land at first that people whatever, and then once in later seasons when they bring it to the whole world, I just think it's such a challenging thing they're trying to do within the show.
Yeah, I agree.
That maybe it's taking a while to set it up.
They didn't necessarily have a plan. Like the first season went so well, unless we've seen all these things happen.
Yeah.
You know, all this happened a lot. Maybe it's a Stranger Things phenomenon.
Or they're stretching out the series, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think of Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is another one. Lost is another one.
These shows make so much money that they never want to end them.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Well, yeah.
But at some point, you have to have artistic, artistic ethics, and
yes,
just say
absolutely.
it's time to cut this sucker
So I
off,
assume
right?
we're ending this pod tonight then?
Yeah, no. If we had any artistic integrity, we would have ended in season 6.
We should go back and play all the clips you and I were talking about Stranger Things. Play the clips, but pretend we're talking about our pod. Yeah, some of the episodes were like an hour and 40 minutes, where they could have easily been like 45.
The whole plot went nowhere.
Yeah, like 2 seasons too long.
I really hate 2 of the characters.
They really minimized a couple of the characters in season 8.
And the emergence of Bump.
So good. Oh, the emergence of Bump. Oh, my God.
What do you got? Some listener mail? By the way, if anybody's recommending, I'm on vacation as of like the second we end this podcast.
There's a new one on Amazon that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
With
Good.
Kevin Pratt, maybe?
Kevin Pratt, the guy who works at our station.
A big break for him.
Chris Pratt.
Is that
Chris
the one
Pratt.
you see he's from, what's the show called? Man.
Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Jurassic Park.
No, yeah, but same guy.
Jurassic Parks
I
and
might
Rec.
have the wrong guy. But
Chris Pratt?
it's,
Just blew my mind.
it's on Amazon, and it looks like it's like a cop thing.
You sold me.
Wow.
Tanya wants us to watch
I'm
it
going
next.
to order Amazon now.
When we're done with 1883.
Oh, how's that thing going?
It's good, but again,
Brooksy's
it's
about to start it. Too much?
1883.
Too
It's
much?
like, literally, they went to get water at the pail.
And that's
Yeah.
You know, like that's the episode. So
Yeah, I can't
mean,
do
it's
that.
real. It's beautifully shot. The acting, like Tim McGraw, is fantastic in it.
Wow.
Faith Hill, incredible.
They're both in it, Faith Hill and Tim
They
McGraw.
play a married couple.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Their daughter is amazing. Like it's really well done and it's really well shot and its acting is good, but it's just like it's 1883, so it can only be so exciting.
You got to make it. It's tough to make the commitment.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The episodes are long.
Anyway, people out there, summertime, so give me some shows. All right?
Alrighty.
Give me some shows.
And speaking of the people, on to listener mail.
Nice.
Oh.
Our first piece of listener mail comes from Snack Bites Pete, not to be confused with Snatch Bites Dave.
I can't remember what he said. That was hilarious.
But whatever it was, Bob Weeks was on point. So Snack Bites Pete writes in, hey guys, it's not looking good. And he attaches an article from CNN that asks, could you land a plane emergency? Now, of course, they referenced the story we covered a couple of weeks ago about that guy who was able to land a plane. Mm-hmm. However, they start throwing in all kinds of doubt as to actually if the average person could do this. So most of the success stories have a very common trait. It's a specific type of aircraft, a Cessna aircraft.
Yeah, I can fly
And these
that.
are really small planes that Puffy could even fly.
Yeah.
And they use them in flight schools, and they're just very intuitive to control them.
Right.
So they're saying that's why this guy and others, people in those situations, were able to land the planes. However, and this is the part where it starts to get concerning, a non-pilot wouldn't have the slightest idea how to even work the communications radios
Of a big plane.
let alone land the jet. Yes.
And then
an
they
actual big
used
plane.
some example, did they not?
Yeah, so this is really
I
the
have
not
to
good
say,
part.
like when I started reading it, I thought it was going to be a happy ending.
Yeah, it was not. So no passenger has ever landed in an airliner. That's mostly because no one's ever had to try. The closest real-life example of this took place several years ago over Greece, when a flight attendant, who was also a student pilot, so she was learning how to fly, took over the controls of a 737 after the rest of the crew and passengers were incapacitated due to a pressure failure.
oh my God.
He was unable to do...
Oh, it was a he, not a she. It was a he. Male flight attendant.
He assumed.
My bad.
Wow.
That was my bad on that one. Wow. Here's where I'm going to flip it. She was unable to do a thing. Edit point. No, I'm kidding. He was unable to do a thing. The plane ran out of fuel and crashed. So it was a 2005 crash of Helios Airway Flight 522. Obviously tragic. 121 people died on board.
But
Oh my God.
the difference is, even if this person was learning how to fly, they were probably learning how to fly on a Cessna.
Yes.
We get 1 full day of training.
Yes.
One
True.
full day of training in our scenario. So we might have been able to figure it all out.
Okay. So
Probably
now
not,
They're saying
though.
the most favorable scenario is if the plane is already lined up with the runway, and even then the odds are still very much against you.
Really?
Yeah, but it would vary.
See, I honestly thought it was like these planes were almost automatic.
Yeah.
That the pilots were there.
Yeah, like how's a
just to make
Tesla able
sure-
to drive itself? But a
Yeah, like I just thought they were
can't?
just there in case of emergency.
I don't buy it.
I
don't buy it.
think there's probably so many, you look at a cockpit and there's 100 different things there, but there's probably only 3 or 4 or 5 you use on landing. So we would learn that in our little course that day and we'd land that sucker. We'd each
We'd
get
be so
50
rich.
million. It would be unbelievable.
Damn.
I forgot to mention, I went on a little romantic venture to Niagara-on-the-Lake with Brooksy.
Oh, nice.
I wanted to shout out to Niagara-on-the-Lake, which is always a fun place for a getaway. I mean, if you live in Halifax or Vancouver, that's probably not a good weekend away because it's too far to come. But when you're in the T-Dot, it's only an hour and a half down the road. Brooksy and I did some romance. We did some biking. We biked to Niagara Falls and back from Niagara-on-the-Lake.
Wow. On your electric bikes?
Did you see
On our
my
little
note I sent
electrics.
you?
Which one? No.
I said, you said beautiful picture of Brooksy there, and I said, and he said we're doing a wine tour, and I said, Jimmy, did you get her drunk enough to have her pass out so you could play a 9?
I'm glad you edited it that way. I was like, is this
Where's this going?
This is worse than my flight attendant comment.
I did think about it because there is a Niagara-on-the-Lake golf course. But the point I wanted to make was this is a fun thing to do. I don't know that I should advertise this, just like the underage drinking from earlier. But drunk bike riding is kind of fun.
There's a lot of it in the county.
Yeah,
100%.
so you get the bikes.
Yeah.
You go from winery to winery.
Yeah.
You do the wine tasting, and then you just try to bike home.
But the
I
thing
would
is-
like to add a disclaimer: you should watch out for cars while you're
Yeah,
doing it.
they don't.
Stay off the roads. Stay on the paths.
They're like in the middle of the
Or on the
road
field.
when they're hammered. They're just.
But Niagara has some.
They're a car.
Niagara has some good bike paths,
Do they?
so
Okay,
we're
that's
able to stay on the road. And I'm just kidding. We weren't that inebriated, but I enjoyed. I enjoyed the dessert wine.
A little buzz, though.
You do, eh? I don't
Yeah, it's
like
very
dessert
sweet.
No,
Oh, the ice wines.
Ice wines, yes.
Ice wines, beautiful. You know, ice wines are only called ice wines in Canada. I guess
Yes,
it's
I
when
believe
it's like
that's correct.
champagne.
Do you know that ice wine was a mistake though? Like some guy left the grapes out in the winter and they froze.
He forgot to pick them.
Yeah, basically freaking overseas or something somewhere, and they're like, "Oh crap, we lost everything." And then they brought him in, and ice wine.
Nice.
Yeah,
Ice wine
no.
is delicious.
Yeah,
Very
it's
good.
it's fantastic. But you have to pick like the grapes off in the middle of winter, like when it's -20. You can't just pick the grapes off in the summer and then freeze them and say, "Hey, it's ice wine." You got to
Really?
pick them off when they're frozen. So these guys are trudging out there in the middle of winter, -20, picking off the grapes. See, education.
What I'd want to do.
So should we call bump now, or do you want to move on to the next listener mail here?
Well, I know, and I derailed listener mail already with my Niagara on
But
the
Bump
Lake story.
is a listener.
He is a listener.
He is
so
a member of
this
And
could,
he's
Profile
this could-
also male.
This could technically be.
Yes, correct.
Let's prank call him.
Much like the
Prank call
flight
him. Shh.
attendant.
Prank call him. Prank call him. Hello?
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 Yes.
Would you like your ducks cleaned?
Yes. Yes, I absolutely need my ducks cleaned. They are in the pond in the back.
you said ducks, and I was saying ducks, like DUCT, but you turned it into DUCK.
He's good.
Comedy.
Very
I
funny.
was going to ask if you could clean my frogs, too.
This is your live guy.
I'm already regretting
This
calling
is your
him.
anti-live guy.
I botched the podcast so badly the other day that we lost you and all your great Turkish prison jokes with your backdrop, and so I thought we better call you because this is the last episode of the season. So
Possibly the podcast.
Is this the series finale or just the season finale?
That's what we're trying to figure out.
just
working
the
through it.
season finale.
We'll see.
Do you want to comment on Stranger Things? Have you watched Stranger Things with your girls this season?
My kids had it on. I have not watched any of it, but I've seen some of it.
Have you watched Calibre?
What
Forget it.
Listen to the podcast, you'll get it.
Hey, Bump. What I really wanted to have you on for, unless you want to add something else, I know. Did you say you PVR'd the free agent frenzy? So you're going to watch the whole thing tonight?
Yes, I didn't watch anything because my kids were watching Modern Family,
Okay.
and I also had to go to a funeral.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about
That's
that,
okay.
buddy.
And so I had to PVR it because I love all 25 hours.
Are you just going to fast forward to my parts?
Yes, I usually do. I just skip to
That's
your
awesome.
parts.
Thank you for your support.
I don't care what O-Dog has to say.
Man, who does? Who does? What a joke.
That's the funny thing. Nobody does.
Do you want to give your anti-live rant just to shoot down Puffy and Stoff?
Puffy loves this thing. Like, I don't get it, Puff.
It's a joke.
These guys are playing for nothing. They're playing for money. Good for them.
A lot of
They
money.
wanna do
It's a lot of nothing.
It's a lot of money. Good for them. It gets them nothing. Like what Tiger said in his press conference, he's exactly right. And it's already been reported of what's been said on ranges where a guy will miss a shot and say, oh, am I going to have to work on that? He goes, or do I really have to? Well, no, you don't. You're playing in a tournament with 48 other people with no cut and 54 holes.
48 of the best players in the world.
150 grand no matter what. Like, who gives a crap? Nobody's going to give a crap.
That's like saying that
these tournaments
NHL
mean
players don't
nothing.
give a crap because they all get paid tons of money too.
That is not even
It's the exact
remotely
same
the same.
thing.
It's
How is it not the same thing?
It's the same
Guaranteed
thing.
contracts are guaranteed contracts.
I play Monday Night Hockey for the passion of the game. Does that make me like a PGA Tour player?
Do you look down on professional athletes?
No.
Oh,
We're all just great athletes.
What are you even saying?
No idea.
Bump, we're trying to wrap this thing up because we've been here for 12 hours, but do you want anything to add on our season finale before we let you go?
So listen, I think that you guys need like just a straight bump segment.
Oh, okay.
okay.
What should we
I
call
have
it?
no idea. I'll leave that to your creative people.
Right. So what will happen? You'll come on.
Stoff.
You'll come on every week and do something funny.
Yeah, maybe I'll
Yeah.
find you wherever you're taping and just pop in behind. Like
What
I
happened
did
to that dance you were
when you were
supposed to
taping
coordinate for
at
us?
when
Yeah,
you were
you're-
taping in your office?
You were supposed to do a TikTok dance for us with your daughters. You never did that either. Yeah.
I forgot about that. You
Very
gotta remind me of
disappointing.
these things.
Yeah. Bump, we love you. Thank you for coming on. We'll have you next year. We'll come up
That's
with
it?
a bumpy segment.
A bumpy.
That was
That might be the name. A bumpy.
A
segment.
bumpy ride, we'll call it.
Bumpy ride.
Time now for a bumpy ride brought to you
Puppy,
by.
Get off the live train, buddy. Get off.
brought to you by LIV. The future of golf.
Brought to you by Live Golf. Brought to you by Patrick Reed's T-shirts that just say Live Golf. Is it not great? Just one last thing before I go. Is it not great to see Patrick Reed with like no sponsorships?
Yes.
As it is for me because he's a complete dick.
Yes, he is.
He
What-
can't hear you. He's got his billions of dollars.
You know what? My
He's too busy living it up.
My favorite thing about Bump on Twitter is Bump responds to like the live tweets.
Yeah.
They'll be like, "Are you pumped about this weekend?" And Bump will be like, "No, no one is saying that anywhere."
I favorite the shit out of those tweets.
Like the whole propaganda crap machine that's going on with these guys. Like even I feel bad. Jerry Foltz is a good guy.
Yeah,
But
great
He's the
guy.
commentator.
He's their commentator. He's just drank the Kool-Aid.
I
And
know.
There's
it's
no
just
PGA.
just going, hey, this has never happened before at any tournament. The crowds here are unbelievable.
know.
What are you talking about?
How
It's
about-
the same as any other tournament?
The best, actually, it's the same, but with like 1/10 of the amount of people there because they limit the crowds. The best was Taylor Gooch after his team won the team contest in Portland, going, "I've never been in a Ryder Cup, but I'm pretty sure this is
yeah.
exactly how it feels."
It would feel like
It was. Except for other than beating one team, he beat like 11 other teams.
Yeah, and he
Champion.
got stupid rich over it.
Yeah.
We'll give Patrick Reed
Hey, let's
credit.
high five
He
over the
kinda
Ryder
looked
Cup.
at him. If you watch Patrick Reed's reaction when he says it, he kind of looks at him going, "What the hell are you talking about,
you
man?"
nuts?
And if Patrick Reed's doing that, then you know you've made an idiotic statement.
Yeah.
Like Taylor Gooch going over there at 30 years old is basically admitting to the world he can't win anywhere.
Bump, I love you and all your anti-live rants. Maybe the segment of Bumpy Ride will just be you repeating his anti-live rants every week next year.
Yeah, we can have him on when Greg Norman wins Sportsman of the Year.
I love this pod. I love you guys.
Oh, he's doing the bit.
I promised myself I wouldn't cry. Like the Masters, but I just can't. You guys are beautiful people.
The bit still works.
We love you too, Bump. We'll see you out on the golf course. We'll get you out soon, okay, buddy?
See you, Bump.
See you, Bump.
Good to talk to you guys.
Later, buddy.
See ya.
That's our good friend Bump.
Would that be the segment we would bump?
That could be the segment. We'll call it Bumping Bump.
Yeah.
Every week we'll promote Bump being on, and then
at the end-
we'll say he couldn't be on.
We ran out of time.
Sorry, no time for Bumping Bump this week. Back next week for another installment of Bumping Bump. Sorry, back to listener mail.
Back to listener mail. Andrew Arsenal following up on his big visit to Toronto
What a
hanging
trip
out
that
with
was.
us, saying, I gotta say, and don't let this go to his head, but Lester is way more ripped in person than he looks on the pod.
I can say that right now,
agree.
just looking at it.
I'm
Handsome.
shocked.
Big,
man.
broad
That
shoulders.
suit
Business
doesn't stand a
attire, too.
chance.
Do you have shoulder pads? Because that is you look wide in that suit,
Oh, yeah.
buddy.
Oh, thanks,
Looks
pal.
You look
jacked.
wide.
Yeah, man,
I guess wide doesn't sound like a compliment, but when it's your shoulders, you mean wide.
Broad. You say broad.
Broad. Yeah, wide. is
Wow,
nice.
well, that's very
You
kind
look
of him.
wide.
You look wide.
Good thing I did use that old woman. Brooksy, you look wide tonight.
Looking wide.
You usually say, Brooksy, you look broad.
Yeah, that's a good point by you. What else we got?
Well, we complimented Lester. Now a slight criticism here from
okay.
Chewy Louie, saying, let Lester know that the Big Bridge, a.k.a. the Confederation Bridge, only opened in 1997, not in the late 80s.
Oh.
Slight correction there.
What an idiot
Little
you are,
wow.
Lester.
Well,
Is
you
that
know
the
what?
bridge into PEI?
PEI?
I'm driving to PEI.
My-
from
my-
Oh, yeah.
Halifax.
You going
My
tomorrow?
bridge trivia.
Tomorrow I go to
is-
Halifax and then Saturday.
Well, you know
I go
what?
to PEI.
Let's put it this way. It's entirely possible that when I was there, it was in construction then, right?
Very, I don't.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
Is there any more listener mail?
Yes, there is a little bit more here. Let's see here. We were talking about divisional playoffs versus the 1-8 format. Maisie Mew basically pointing out that they did the divisional so it would help teams play in their own time zones. Before the Wings had to make it to the final in order to play in their own time zone prior to that. So that's why they did it, I guess.
Oh, okay. Okay.
There you go. Here's a couple tweets telling us how uninformed we are. One from Andrew. We're talking about Chick-fil-A, and me and Puffy were trying to wonder if they had one here, if it was a pop-up shop or whatnot.
Oh, update. I had to take Gracie tore her ACL and meniscus.
Again?
Again?
Yes, her other one.
How?
Soccer.
She's still playing?
Well, here's
She's
the
an
thing.
adult now.
They coached her. The coach asked her to come back, begged her back this year. She comes back, fourth game, and yeah. I watched it. I watched it happen, and I'm like, yeah, she's torn her ACL.
Was it a collision?
Yeah, collision. Just your typical ACL soccer collision. So anyway, we were downtown seeing Dr. Tim Rindlisbacher, amazing doctor, downtown Toronto. And leaving there, we passed the Chick-fil-A. And Gracie's like, ooh, Chick-fil-A, let's stop for lunch. And I'm like, yeah, we better stop for lunch. We didn't. Couldn't find a place to park. But anyway.
Well,
come on.
thank you for spoiling these
great
tweets.
story.
Natalie Pressburger wrote in, wandering the mean streets of Toronto while listening to the pod, and I came across this place shortly after it was mentioned. So yes, Canada has a Chick-fil-A tucked away at Yonge and Bloor.
Exactly, Yonge
Even
and Bloor.
better, Andrew Arsenal writing in that there's a Chick-fil-A in the Scarborough Town Center. Shut up. Just 3 minutes from here, and literally a stone's throw from where we met up with them for dinner.
I haven't
so.
been into the town center.
Yeah, me neither.
So Andrew Arsenault's been in Toronto for 2 days, and he knows more
knows
about
our
the city than we do.
Seems about right. So now, here's a slightly concerning thing, as we were almost swindled. If you guys will remember, a couple weeks ago on our last episode, I read a DM from Owen Heilman. Heilman? I don't know how to say the last name, whatever. We'll just call him Owen, saying, hi, I'm contesting for an ambassadorship spot at an online influencers program. Can you please vote for me? So I asked you guys, should we vote? We all said yes.
Yep.
I said, sure. I actually messaged this guy back and I said, yeah, sure, we'd love to vote for you, but you didn't leave anything. Like, do you have a link or anything? And he goes to me, I will send you the link, but I only need you to take a snapshot of the link and send it back to me.
What?
At which point I just abandoned the message thread. I'm like, I'm not
So
dealing
what
with
was
it.
happening?
So a couple of days ago, I get a DM from Joseph, again, Heilman or however you say that, and saying, hey, listening to last week's podcast and you mentioned my brother Owen sent you a message. His account was actually hacked, and that is the message they're sending to people to try and scam them.
So
So I
how would you?
understand
How
how
would
the
you?
scam
yeah,
works,
how would that
'cause-
scam by the camera? Would they find out your information? To your phone?
I did give our checking account number.
Damn it! All the BetSafe money's gone.
Just trying to help Owen.
Just
like a
one
good
one
news.
quick thing. I talk about? I think I talked about on the pod my bot friend from Florida.
Yeah.
Who we decided was not a bot.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I said, for the purpose of pure experimentation,
Yeah.
I wasn't like flirting, that I would pursue a friendship
Yeah.
with the bot just
Platonic.
to see where it leaded and to see if she was actually human. I got dumped by her. So we had the conversation one day where I asked all the questions to prove that she was human and believed that she was from the Orlando area. So I was like, okay, this is an actual human. And then I talked about it in the pod and I said, okay, I'll follow up to see where this leads. And so because she after we had our conversation, she texted me the next day and said, hey, how's it going, James?
Yeah.
And I said, oh, good, but I was busy. So I said, I'll get back to you later. And then I didn't get back to her for like a week. And so then I'm like, hey, Mavis, what's going on? After we did the pod.
Yeah.
No response.
Oh.
So I wait 24 hours. I throw one more of it. Hey, Mavis, everything okay? Nothing. I got dumped by a bot.
Wow.
The first person in history.
Wow.
Wow.
What the hell? I kind of feel hurt.
Yeah.
Because I thought we had something. We had a friendly conversation.
Did you
That's
send a
it.
dick pic?
I was just testing the waters.
Wow.
Sometimes can really change the coding.
Brooksy suggested that's where I should go with it. No, I didn't send that. I would never do that. Anyway, are we done with the listener mail?
Almost. We have one more, and it
Okay.
is our interaction with someone on the DMs. Also could be a bot. So I got a message, and this person's username is Bully. So the first message says, I have large worldwide network on Instagram. Very, very good grammar. And then it has two emojis of planet Earth. Would you like to promote your talent to all my accounts?
I would.
I mean, who wouldn't?
Of course.
Now, I hadn't initially answered that first message. So the second message comes in from Bully saying, it's paid service, but very cheap.
Ooh.
Still, I'm not biting. I don't respond.
It's a deal.
Message
But you're
number
starting to
3,
get tempted.
I am getting tempted. And message number 3 says, it's very, very cheap price.
Oh.
Still, nothing. Let's wait this out. And they do sweeten the deal, as Bully then writes, it's a very, very, very cheap price.
Now we're in. Now
We
we're in.
are
Now
in,
I'm
baby.
in, so.
Oh, yeah.
But the funny thing is, the messages are like a week apart. So this person's just going back in, like, come on, man, it's a good price.
Oh, my God.
Do you know what I get? I get messages on emails from people, and they're like supposed to go to TSN. So I don't know how they've found me somehow with the TSN address. And
I
they
could
say,
tell you, but then you're going to get a whole lot more of them.
Oh,
Yes,
because
exactly.
they're like
Not rocket
we would like
No.
we would like to post your blog. We have seen your blog and we like your blog. We would like to post articles on your blog or whatever. And I'm like, what is this crap? Which is also bottish, but they have some sort of, and somehow they've identified me as the owner of
Weak link.
TSN.ca. So they're right there.
The face of it.
I think that's it. That's it for the season.
Yep.
We've been here a long time today. We thank you all again so much for listening all year long. We know that the audio wasn't always fantastic. The video wasn't always probably spectacular. That's why we wanted to come in and give you a taste of what it might be like next season if we're back in studio. We'll probably do more from home. I'll get you guys some better mics and we'll figure it out. But maybe we'll do some more in here because I love to see your lovely faces.
Yeah, man.
And Lester's broad, wide shoulders.
Yes.
And Puffy's cute little Gomer hat that he's gone on right now.
That's just nice, actually.
And so thanks again for listening. Thanks to betsafe.net for your support all year long. Thanks again to Nick and TaylorMade for providing the driver and for loving the pod. And we'll see you again. We're going to take a break here for a while. Maybe we'll do something, who knows, in the middle of summer if we're bored. But we'll be back sometime in September, maybe with a brand new cast.
Big break from Arcade.
A brand new segment, a bumping bump,
Bumping bump.
and all sorts of
And
surprises.
Bob Weeks will defend his
Bob
Platinum
works-
League title.
Yes.
I think we'll probably extend the Platinum League next year. We have some ideas. There's negotiations going on right now. All of it to be revealed sometime in the fall.
Bribes mainly.
Beautiful.
There will be bribes. So thanks again. Love you three guys. Thank you
Love you. Thanks, guys.
for everything this year.
Yeah, man.
And enjoy your time off. We will play golf. I guarantee
Yes.
the next time we do a podcast, we will be talking about our round of golf.
Yes.
Wow.
And this permanently ends the Rubber Boots podcast.
See you, everybody. Thanks again for listening.
Yeah.
Hey, how are you? I got a question that I really wanna ask you. Wait, don't hang up. I need to know, so I'm gonna try and push my luck. Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? Are they purple, yellow, green, blue, black, or white? Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? And do you like the dunk tank at the fair? I know it's a little strange, my obsession with your choice of footwear in the rain. I know that you're on TV, but I need you to put your boots up on the desk for me. Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? Are they purple, yellow, green, blue, black, or white? Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? And do you like the dunk tank at the fair? This is the part they call the bridge. A bridge has water under it. With rubber boots you can wade in the water. Just don't fall in. Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? Are they purple, yellow, green, blue, black, or white? Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? And do you like a dunk tank at the fair? Do you like the dunk tank at the fair? The dunk tank at the fair. Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? No, seriously. Are you wearing your rubber boots? Don't hang up, please. Somebody. Hey? Anyone?